This is CNN Breaking News.
We begin with major breaking news out of Washington involving one of America's longest serving and most powerful members of Congress. I want to now bring in CNN's Dana Bash. Dana, what are you learning this morning?
Well, Sarah, we have learned that the former Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, will retire from Congress at the end of this term. She will not run for re-election in her San Francisco seat, the one that she's held for almost 40 years. It spanned 7 presidents. She, of course, was the first and so far only female Speaker of the House. She broke what she called the marble ceiling in 2007, then led Democrats back to the majority during Donald Trump's first term, took the gavel back for a second time, famously and proudly became Trump's chief antagonist. Now, Sarah, Pelosi prepared a pretty highly produced video. It was a love letter to San Francisco.
I have truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always honored the song of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power.
And know your power, that is a classic Pelosiism. Sarah, there was some surprise that when Pelosi passed the baton to Hakeem Jeffries after they lost the majority, that she decided to stay in Congress and become a rank-and-file member. But we all know she was never a rank-and-file member. She continued to raise millions of dollars for her party, including the redistricting ballot measure that sailed through in California on Tuesday. And if you think about it, Pelosi was front and center in every major policy battle over the last quarter century. She opposed the Iraq War pretty aggressively. She helped save the global economy during the financial collapse of 2008. And she pushed through Obamacare when it seemed like that wasn't going to happen. Sarah, she really is a truly singular figure in American politics.
I mean, she surely is. You know, she was the first female Speaker of the House, and she did it twice. Talk to us about just some of the big things and ceilings that Nancy Pelosi broke. Well, let's just, start with what she did as a woman. When she came to Congress in 1987, she came as a mother of 5 who just, said goodbye to her youngest daughter as she went off to college. And there weren't very many women in Congress then. And if you kind of look at what Congress looks like now, mostly Democrats, but a lot of female Republicans as well. There are more of them. They are younger. They are having babies while serving in Congress. That was anathema to Pelosi and people in her generation when they came into Congress. And she talked so often about being the only woman in the room for so many years. And she has said many times in many different ways that what she strives to do is not just be powerful, but to show women that they can have a voice. And, at the beginning, it's pretty clear that that was just who she was. But after a while, when she saw what kind of effect it was having, it's been intentional. Yeah, I mean, this is a really big moment in politics, never mind for the Democratic Party, but because she was so powerful, because she could wrangle her colleagues so well, she also became quite the devil to Republicans because she was able to do the job so well. But that is sort of on the national stage. What impact are you seeing now on her city that she has been, and state that she has been representing? You see it in this love letter to San Francisco. What is this going to mean for those constituents?
Well, look, I mean, the video that she released, we just played a portion of it. It's like 6 minutes long, and it starts, "Dear San Francisco," with a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge.
And she talks pretty extensively about her love for her adopted home city. She's really the daughter of Baltimore. She is the daughter of the former mayor of Baltimore. Her father was a member of Congress. She learned about Congress walking through the halls with her dad, who represented Baltimore. But when she got married to Paul Pelosi, they did move to San Francisco. And she talks about fighting HIV/AIDS. One of her first, maybe the first speech that she gave on the House floor when she came in 1987 was about the AIDS epidemic. She talks about the fact that she helped bring a lot of money back. She's unabashed about that. And, you know, even on global policy, China, since there is a huge Chinese American population in San Francisco, she was one of the first to say, no, we don't trust this Chinese regime. And she did it in large part because she had experience in representing people who came from China and really understood what was going on there. But I do want to go back to one of the points you just made, Sarah. The way that Pelosi understood the Democratic caucus was like really nothing any politician has done or those who served with her have seen on either side of the aisle. She understood where everybody was, what they represented, what they could give based on what their constituents needed, what they couldn't give, and she was able to corral the caucus, hold them together in a way that was kind of remarkable, especially when it was contrasting at the time with the Tea Party rise in the GOP, and the Republican speakers there just couldn't do it. It was a very important part, and is a very important part of her legacy as a speaker, before that as a leader of the Democratic Party. But today, because this is the end of an era of her representing San Francisco for nearly 40 years, that's where she wanted to have her focus.
Right. Joining us now to discuss all of this, Republican strategist Malik Abdul and CNN political commentator and Democratic strategist Maria Cardona. Maria, I'm going to start with you. Just your reaction to hearing that Nancy Pelosi will no longer be a member of Congress soon, and the ramifications of all that.
You know, when I just heard this news, Sarah, first of all, it's not that surprising, but it certainly is disappointing just from the standpoint of what a legendary icon she has been, not just to the Democratic Party, but the country in general. And Dana talked about all of the history behind her role as being the first woman Speaker of the House. The way she wielded her power, her incisive, strategic, tactical mind, her empathy, her class, her dignity, her elegance is something that will be admired for years to come, but it will be never matched. And so I think just across the country, you know, there are people waking up to this groundbreaking news, but at the same time, she has given so much of her life to this country, to public service, that you can't help but think this woman deserves to spend her golden years however she wants. And you know, Sarah, that even though she might not be serving in Congress, she will always wield the power that she knows she has, that others know that she has, Democrats across the country, and I think Republicans as well. She's always been good at working across the aisle, especially in times when that was more of a normal thing. But she will continue to be someone whose advice is sought, regardless of whether she's not in public life anymore. And that will always be to the good and to the benefit of the American people. I wish her the best. I love her. I have had the honor and the pleasure of working with her on many projects. And we are a country that is better for her service. We will miss her, and we wish her the best.
Maria, thank you for your thoughts. She's 85 years old and still quite sharp as a tack, and was involved in this recent, movement in California to try and change the
Absolutely.
redistricting. She's involved still quite a bit, so you would expect that she might still be involved, because this has been her life's work. But to you, Malik, look, Republicans have no love loss for Nancy Pelosi. She has been sort of the devil the boogeyman that they have pointed to for many different things that they didn't like about Democratic policies. What now with her leaving?
Well, I think that Republicans, well, first of all, Nancy Pelosi, first, congratulations that she's decided to retire. I have to give her credit for being able to wield the gavel in a way that really did push the Democratic Party. I think part of the challenge now for the Democrats is that you no longer have a Nancy Pelosi in a Hakeem Jeffries. Many people in the Democratic Party are upset with Hakeem Jeffries' leadership, which really leaves a lot to be desired. So when you go from a Nancy Pelosi to a Hakeem Jeffries, I think that probably speaks to the problems that the Democratic Party is having now. But Republicans will always choose, if it's not Nancy Pelosi, we're going to choose another boogeyman, because that's simply what happens in politics. So I don't think that Republicans will back away from any criticism of the Democratic Party, particularly because of what we're seeing happen around the country, like in places in New York City.